Seeing a mountain of trash like the size of a house and realizing it all came from a single beach,
Yeah.
it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Mr. Beast tackled in his newest video,
Right.
pulling out 60,000 pounds of debris from the ocean.
Wow.
That's like the weight of 3 school buses. Can you believe that?
That's incredible. 60,000 pounds.
It's wild. His video, I cleaned up the world's dirtiest beach. Definitely got a ton of attention. But we wanted to like dive a little deeper than just this viral moment, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
We've got this really interesting PDF, Extreme Beach Makeover,
Yeah.
tackling the planet's dirtiest shores. So we're going to use that and kind of connect the dots between these two sources
Okay.
and see what we can uncover about like the global plastic problem.
Sounds good.
Have you ever wondered where all that plastic in the ocean comes from?
It's a great question. And as entertaining as Mr. Beast's video is, it really, it highlights just how huge this problem is.
This really is crazy to see.
Yeah, those mountains of plastic bottles, the fishing nets, all tangled up. It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
For sure.
The PDF actually mentions that that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Wow. It mentions that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is, get this, it's Texas-sized.
Wow.
Texas-size. To put that in
Yeah.
perspective for you, that's larger than France, Germany, and Spain combined.
It's unbelievable.
It's a massive amount of space just swirling with our trash.
Yeah.
And the stuff they pulled out of that beach in the video, did you see the car bumper?
A car bumper?
A car bumper. Who's losing a whole car bumper in the ocean?
Right. It's almost comical, but it really, it just highlights that this debris isn't just appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Each piece, whether it's a flip-flop or that car bumper, started its journey on land,
Okay.
sometimes hundreds of miles from the coast.
Okay, so how does a car bumper or even just a plastic bottle travel that far to end up in the ocean?
Right.
Is it all just people, just being careless and tossing trash directly into like rivers and streams?
Well, littering is definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
But the PDF actually uses this interesting analogy. It refers to rivers as arteries,
Okay.
carrying trash from inland areas out to the sea.
Okay.
So even something litter on our streets gets washed into storm drains when it rains,
Right.
and that flows into our rivers.
Yep.
And eventually, all rivers lead to the ocean.
Okay.
It might seem like a stretch, but that plastic straw you tossed out the car window last week,
Yeah.
it could very easily become part of the problem.
That's a sobering thought. I've never really connected those dots before.
And that's precisely why initiatives like the ocean cleanup are so crucial.
Right.
It's not just about cleaning up the mess we've already made,
Yeah.
They're trying to intercept the flow of plastic
Okay.
before it reaches the open ocean.
Got it.
Yeah.
And their approach is so innovative. Have you heard about this system 002, nicknamed Jenny?
I have. It's very impressive.
Isn't it?
Imagine a giant U-shaped barrier over a half a mile long,
Wow.
being towed through the water by these two vessels.
Okay.
And as it moves through the ocean, it acts like a giant net, capturing and concentrating the plastic debris,
Wow.
all while allowing marine life to swim safely underneath.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
It's incredible how much plastic they've pulled out with that thing.
right.
In just one deployment, they collected 9,000 kilograms of plastic. That's like the weight of over 100,000 plastic bottles.
That's amazing. System 002 is really showing a lot of promise.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is what they're doing with all the plastic they collect.
Yep. Yeah. What are they?
Remember those sunglasses made from recycled ocean plastic?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's amazing what they can do with recycled plastic these days.
It really is.
It's a real-world example of the circular economy in action. The ocean cleanup and other companies are showing that this plastic we used to think of as waste
Right.
can be turned into something valuable, something desirable.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder, what else could we create from recycled ocean plastic?
Right.
Could this be a game changer for sustainable manufacturing in the future?
That's the question a lot of researchers are asking, and the
Yeah.
potential is huge. But
Yeah.
before we get ahead of ourselves,
Right.
we still have this massive mountain of plastic to deal with.
That's true.
Yeah.
So back to my earlier question. Can we actually clean up the oceans entirely? Or are these efforts, even on a massive scale, just a drop in the bucket compared to how big this problem is?
It's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And while these cleanup efforts are super important,
Yeah.
it's important to be realistic. Addressing the plastic that's already in the ocean is only half the battle.
Okay.
We also need to stop the flow of new plastic from even entering our waterways.
So you're saying cleaning up the existing mess is important, but it's kind of like mopping up a flooded bathroom without turning off the faucet.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
We need to address the source of the problem,
Right.
which means drastically reducing our plastic consumption,
Okay.
rethinking our reliance on single-use plastics,
Yeah.
supporting companies that are, committed to sustainable practices,
Right.
and advocating for better waste management systems.
Okay. That makes sense. But it can feel kind of overwhelming to think about changing our consumption habits, like
Yeah.
on a large scale.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin?
It really starts with small, everyday choices that we make.
Okay.
Opting for a reusable water bottle,
Right.
using reusable shopping bags, choosing products that have minimal packaging,
Yep.
and of course, just making sure that we are all recycling correctly.
Yeah. Right. Right.
These might seem like small actions, but they really can have a big impact.
You're right. I've definitely been trying to be more aware of my own plastic use.
Yep.
But what about supporting those larger scale solutions, like what the ocean cleanup is doing?
Absolutely. Supporting organizations like that is a fantastic way to contribute.
Yep.
They rely heavily on donations to fund their research and their development.
Yeah.
But you can also volunteer for local beach cleanups in your area.
Right.
Advocate for stricter plastic regulations in your community. Or even just raise awareness about this issue with your friends and family.
Right.
Every little bit helps.
It's a team effort.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious about something. The PDF mentions the Ocean Cleanups System 002,
Right.
which is an incredible feat of engineering, by the way.
Yeah.
But it also talks about a System 001.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a previous version of the technology?
Good catch. You're right. System 001, they nicknamed it Wilson.
Okay.
And it was actually their first attempt at a fully autonomous cleanup system.
Oh, wow.
The idea was to use the ocean currents and the winds
Okay.
to propel the system through the garbage patch.
Okay.
And it would passively collect the plastic as it moved along.
So kind of like a self-guiding, ocean-powered garbage collector.
Exact.
That's some serious out-of-the-box thinking. Did it work?
It was certainly an ambitious project, very innovative,
Yeah.
but it did face a few challenges during its trial run.
Like what?
Well, while it was able to collect a decent amount of plastic, it wasn't very effective at keeping the smaller pieces contained.
Oh, so some of the plastic was escaping back into the ocean.
Yeah, unfortunately. A little bit like trying to herd cats with a butterfly net.
Right, right.
But even though it wasn't entirely successful, the ocean cleanup learned a lot from System 001's shortcomings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that actually contributed to the improved design and effectiveness of System 002.
It's interesting how much we can learn from setbacks.
It's true.
So what's next for the ocean cleanup? Are they working on any new technologies?
They are.
What's next?
The PDF briefly mentions a System 003, which is in development. They're talking about an even bigger system,
Wow.
spanning over a mile across.
Wow.
The goal is to deploy multiple systems at the same time
Okay.
to really increase the amount of plastic that they can extract from the ocean.
That's incredible. It sounds like they're really scaling up their efforts. But even with these huge cleanup systems, it still feels like we're just playing catch up with this problem that just seems to keep growing.
Yeah.
So do you think there's any hope of, actually getting ahead of this plastic pollution crisis? Is that even possible at this point?
That's a question a lot of people are asking themselves.
Right. It's kind of mind-blowing. Can we really reverse this tide of plastic that's in our oceans?
It's a heavy question. The truth is there's no easy answer. There's no one thing that's going to solve it. It's going to take a multi-pronged approach,
Okay, yeah.
attacking the problem from every angle.
So what does that actually look like?
Well, it means that these large-scale cleanup efforts, like what the ocean cleanup is doing, are really important.
Yeah.
They're critical, but they're only one piece of the puzzle. It's equally important to tackle the root cause,
Right.
which is our global dependence on plastic,
Yeah.
especially these single-use plastics.
Right. It's like we were talking about before, turning off the faucet while you're also mopping up the flood.
Exactly.
We have to reduce, reuse, and innovate our way out of this.
I love that. It requires a global shift in our mindset.
Yeah.
Individuals making conscious choices. Corporations taking responsibility for the impact they're having on the environment.
Yeah.
Governments implementing stricter regulations and investing in these sustainable solutions.
It's a massive undertaking. There's no doubt about that. But hey, if Mr. Beast can, mobilize an entire crew of volunteers to clean up a beach for a YouTube video.
Right.
Imagine the progress we could make with, like, a coordinated global effort.
That's the spirit, you know? Every little bit counts, no matter how small.
Right.
And speaking of taking action, I thought it was really interesting that the ocean cleanup is committed to being carbon neutral.
Oh, yeah, the PDF mentioned that. How do they plan on doing that while they're running these, like, enormous ocean cleaning machines? It seems like that would take a lot of energy.
It's a challenge for sure, but they're taking a two-pronged approach.
Yeah.
First, they're offsetting their fuel consumption through investments in various environmental projects that have been verified.
Mm-hmm.
And even more importantly, they're researching and testing alternative low-emission fuels for those big vessels.
So not only are they tackling the plastic problem, but they're trying to be part of the climate change solution as well.
Exactly. You know, it's about recognizing that these environmental challenges, they're all connected.
Yeah, for sure.
And we need to strive for solutions that address the whole picture.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we've talked about how big this ocean plastic problem is, the innovative solutions that are being developed, and how important it is for all of us to take action, both individually and together. But after spending all this time, like, really digging into this topic, I'm left with this one question. Are we being overly optimistic? Can we really turn the tide on this global crisis?
You know, that's a question that we all have to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
The challenges are definitely there, but I choose to be cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
You know, the fact that there's a growing awareness,
Yeah.
all these new and innovative solutions are popping up.
Right.
There are so many passionate people and organizations dedicating themselves to this cause.
That's true.
These are all reasons to be hopeful.
So you're saying it's not game over yet?
Yeah,
We can still change the ending to this story.
absolutely. But it takes all of us.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that we all have a role to play in this story.
Right.
Every choice we make, every action we take, it all adds up. It all makes a difference.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of ocean plastic cleanup,
Yeah.
we'll leave you with this question. What role will you play in writing this next chapter? Will you just be a bystander? Or will you be part of the solution? It's something to really think about. And more importantly, to act on.
Well said.
That's it for our deep dive today. We'll see you next time.